I stepped and I went. Long story short, that was about 17 years ago. I owed the school no money. The school actually said, you could come back and do your master's and PhD and we'll have pay for that. But it needed that faith to start. Let's get back to Hebrews 11. So now faith, and I'm going to read from the NIV. Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. I want you to think about it, or even go back to the original, the King James as was read. Now faith is what, the King James talks about, it's the substance. The substance. Substance is a legal word. Substance. Anything is substance. I'm a scientific man, so I'm told in science that everything consists of atoms. Atoms are so small that you can't see it. I can't believe that scientists don't believe in God because you can't see him either. They believe in atoms, which they can't see, but they don't believe in Jehovah, who they can't see either. But anyway, we hitting on scientists today because they're my favorite people in the world. But faith is an action. And it says here that faith is the substance of things hoped for. The evidence is another legal word. One of the most difficult classes in law school is the law of evidence. But evidence simply means proof. And I'm being simplistic. It means proof. Tangible proof. Something you can touch, see, taste. Which brings us to the next slide. It's the evidence of things hoped for. It's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now, it doesn't say it's the evidence of things that does not exist. Come on. It says it's the evidence of things not seen. Not because you don't see it, means that it doesn't exist. It just means that you don't see it. We can't see a lot of things. There are two kingdoms we're living in. There's a spiritual kingdom, which is to have the unseen kingdom. And then, because the Bible does say we are citizens of heaven. Okay? And then there's the natural kingdom, the kingdom here on earth. And on earth, we interpret everything as carnal man through the five senses. You see, Mr. Tongue to taste, and Mr. Hands to touch, and the ears to hear, and the nose to smell, and the eyes to see. And as a man that's created by God with these qualities, we interpret the world through those qualities. But God didn't just intend for us to use just those five senses. So when you were quickened, when you were born again, that spiritual man had another quality called faith, by which you interpret the world. But because we weren't quickened, we still rely on the five senses. Faith, the next slide. The Greek word pistis means moral conviction, an assurance, a belief, complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Let's just take a live example. You may have faith in the pilot. You don't know the pilot. You go on a plane. You tell everyone in Orlando or wherever you go for holidays or Switzerland that you're coming home tomorrow. And you have trust and confidence that that pilot who you don't know, never met, probably never will fly you safely from Nassau to wherever you're going when you go back to the United States. And you have every confidence that that plane will arrive. That's faith. That's faith in the pilot. That's faith in the airline. If you've traveled on Bahamas, say you might anticipate that you're going to be a little late. But you can still get there. So I have faith in Bahamas here to always get me there, just not on time. But you have faith. I define faith as faith is confidence in the manifestation of the expectation of a certainty. See, there's a confidence in the manifestation. That's come from the term substance and evidence. Substance is a tangible, so that's the manifestation of what you are believing for, the expectation of what you're believing for. Okay, Matthew 7:20 says, if ye have faith as a grain, so hold up your grain of mustard seed, you should be able to say to this mountain, move, and it shall be moved. Actually, God, not Paul, not Andrew, James, God says, nothing shall be impossible for you if you have faith the size. So I want you to keep that mustard seed, because your faith only needs to be that small. You don't need to have, well, you should, but you don't have to start off with massive faith.
Wow.
You just have to start off with the size. If you look at it's this. That's all the faith. That's what Jesus said. The same with Wence say now. If your faith is that big, you could move a mountain. But it's not just having faith, it's having faith in God, as Mark 11:22 tells us. And for we walk by faith and not by sight. So let's go back to the text. Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. That's the fathers. By faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command. And so what is seen was not made out of what was visible. Let's go back to the beginning. Genesis. That's what this is referring to. The creation. Genesis. Genesis 1. And I want someone to actually read from Genesis 1 through Genesis 14. You can stand up. It could be anyone. Sister Adriana, Sister Nikki, Sister Pastor Denise.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And he said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the water. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and he called and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind, and God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day.
I'm sorry, read the one last about the creation of the sun. Verse 14.
And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and for years.
And can you just read the rest of it? It talks about the greater light. Sorry.
And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, and to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
Thank you very much, Pastor Denise. You Bible scholars, do you understand what's happening here? Genesis 1 tells me that in verse 3, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In verse 3, this light was created on day 1. When you go to verse 14, what Pastor Denise just read, the sun, the moon, and the stars were created on day 4. They weren't created on day 1, if you are following Genesis. I want this to sound heretical now. Light was created on day 1. The sun, moon, and stars were created on day 4. It's in your Bible. It's in your Bible. I'm not adding anything, and I'm not taking anything away. So, the light that was created on day 1 cannot be the light from the sun.
Come on.
This little dilemma has sparked a debate amongst the scholars in Christianity and Judaism, because they all use the same text, the Torah, which is the first 5 books of Moses. And they were up in arms about maybe the Bible made a mistake. No, maybe they just don't understand. Because man like to say it's a mistake when he really just don't understand. Let me tell you what the revelation I got. And it's from an unlikely ally called science. I'm using science to actually support the literal creation. What is it? Well, light. Let there be light. Light, it's the same Greek, Hebrew text, same meaning, is born and meets the eye. This is visible light. This is the light that we get from the sun, moon, and stars in the spectrum. That is 5% of all, just 5 of all the light that exists. No. It's right here. The spectrum of light ranges from radio waves, which you cannot see with your eyes. It includes microwaves, which you cannot see, but you see the effect of a microwave when you put your food in the microwave oven. You don't see the heat. You know that when you put it out, you put the food, it was frozen, you take it out 2 minutes later, it's warm. You didn't see that, but it existed. Faith, the evidence of things not seen. Light. There is infrared light. The same light used to change the projector, or the same remote to change your television. It's infrared, and in the science, infra and ultra, you'll see those terms. Infra, lower than, ultra, higher than. Light is more than meets the eye. Light exists in ultraviolet. That's UV rays. We wear sunscreen because we can't see the ultraviolet effects on our skin. X-ray. X-ray. That's also a form of light. What am I saying to you? When Genesis 1 said God created light, this is light. You can't see it. The only light you can see is when he talked about on day 4 when he created the sun, moon, and stars, because they were created after light. So they're not the only source of light. The spectrum of visible light is this. And we're not going to get into the technology of hertz, because that's how you measure wavelength and hertz. But light is more than what you can see. So when he said, let there be light, and he saw, he didn't hear, he saw that this was good. This is what he saw. All of these waves, he sees them, but we can't, but they exist. You have to believe in things that you cannot see. That's what your faith is. Because the things you cannot see are more real than the things you can. Okay. Light is electromagnetic. It's alternating electric and magnetic fields. And it's like frequency and hertz. They're attributes of light. Let's go to the I'm trying to, this is not an easy concept to share in, I have a couple of minutes left, right? But I want you to get an understanding that visible light is a tiny sliver in the spectrum of light. You have gamma rays, X-rays. When Felicia was having autumn, she went for ultrasound. That's a form of light. I can't see in her belly if the baby is moving, but there's an instrument that can. When my wife goes for X-rays, I can't look and see the broken bones, but you put her under a machine. But they're all forms of light. So there's no dispute between Genesis 1 and Genesis 1 and 14. When God created light, he created light. When he went to day 4, this is visible light. The sun, the moon, the stars. Okay. I read a National Geographic magazine the other day, because I still read those things. I still belong in a couple of astronomy societies, and they were discussing the fact that we only know 5% of the known universe. They have admitted that the universe is expanding. Now, these are scientists who believe in the 5 senses. So I